All right, to watch this video for Monday, March 19th, very narrow range in the SPY on Friday. Still kind of an orderly pullback to the 20-day. Even in a kind of narrow range, boring day that closed at its lows, I still had a pretty nice day on Friday. This KBSF trade I got was actually thanks to Jane from our chat room. She posted the red to green idea, which was the day following a huge move, and it thing just ripped. I only got a partial fill. It happened so fast, but I always thank Jane for those calls because she's made me a lot of money over the past several years. NETE, we had a decent trade in, and ZN overall had a pretty nice day on Friday. I'm going to bring this arrow up to point out to check the description below. I've added a link to my blogs, my free blogs. A lot of articles about day trading and taking big losses, and I think there's some value. I've gotten pretty good feedback on my writings on day trading, so check those out. There's also a link to our free webinars. So a lot of free content in the links below, so check them out when you get a chance. Some special offers as well. Looking forward to Monday. Trading, like I said, is in my opinion, improving quite a bit right now, the market environment. So here's what I'm watching for Monday. Remember, as you watch these videos, I'm a day trader, so I try to find charts that might give me a nice move the following day, but I'm in cash every night. So these are all just stocks that I'm watching for potential intraday setup, and hopefully tomorrow night I'll be showing you some more nice profits from some of these that set up, and I'm happy to explain if anyone ever shoots me an email why we took them at the entry we took them and so on. But if you click that link to our free webinars below, that'll probably explain a lot of kind of what we look for and how we trade. All right. AQMS had this big spike back here on big volume that went up to $3.24. You kind of have a little cup and handle going on and some nice volume on Friday. So that one may break out of this range. We'll see. We're going to watch it all week. NMIH, we had on bounce watch coming into Friday. I never did take a trade in it, but I do kind of like this. Sort of a hammer, sort of a doji. I don't know all the terms for these things, but maybe back through 16 or certainly back through 1614 Friday's high. This certainly has some room to bounce. It's fallen pretty far, pretty quickly. Some nice support on the daily over to the left there, so that one's worth watching. SMRT had this big topping tail after that big intraday rally on Thursday, but then Friday it's kind of creeping back up. So this thing's holding up pretty well. I'm going to watch it for a potential long setup on Monday. EGLT. Big volume spike here 5 sessions ago, and it's kind of curling back up. I don't really like the sub-dollar stuff, but certainly if it gets over this 93 cents from the day that it gapped up, it's got room to $1, and maybe if it gets to $1, people pile in and it goes even higher. So I do like the setup in this EGLT. PTI had the gap up, then an inside day, then another gap up that sold off, then a green day. So it's kind of a weird chart with some weird action, but it definitely has some strength and deserves to be on the watch list. TNDM, nice volume that took it up, let me give you the number here, to 429. Then it put in a lower high here, 421. It looked like it was rolling over and then right back up, and some decent volume on Friday. So we'll see if this can break out of this range, if it gives any kind of a setup. I've found TNDM to be kind of a tough trader, so it's not my favorite. DXR had this monster move from, let's get the numbers here, from like 540 to almost $22 in 2 sessions, which is insane. Then gapped up on Friday, but then sold off most of the day. Anytime you get this kind of break-free movement, though, and then this kind of range, when if you look at it before all this started, it almost looks like a stock that looks like paint splatter, right? I mean, nobody was looking at this thing. So it's certainly on all the traders' watch list and deserves to be on the watch list. Sometimes, even though things like this have gotten crazy, sometimes you can get a very low-risk setup that gives you an explosive move. So for that reason, it goes on a chart. I have no idea if it's going to do that, but if it doesn't, I won't trade it, right? AMTX, huge move on Friday and closed, well off its highs, but even farther off of its lows. So we're going to watch this one all week. SEED, SEED had the big breakout. Looked like it was rolling over and then gapped up on Friday. Popped originally. Actually, Jane said, I talked about Jane making me money on KBSF. She said my call here made her daily goal. Called this as a long on Friday morning, basically through the opening price. You had the gap up. I was looking for a red to green through 128. So my idea was 129 think I said I wouldn't give it more than a nickel or something like that. And in about 4 minutes, it went to 152, and plenty of volume. I'll scroll it over there. Plenty of volume to sell into. So there's the long. See no, take that out. Look at that massive volume. They came in way bigger volume than the opening candle. That's when generally you know, hey, maybe I've caught one. And as we teach in our course, if we get long here on a morning gap play that goes red to green and meets all of our other parameters, then we start scaling out into this big spike. All right. And again, I was happy to hear Jane got her daily goal, and then she pretty much handed me mine. Great teamwork in the chat room. FTEK. So Seed goes back on watch. Even though, let me go back to that real quick. Even though Seed had this kind of indecision candle, it's still well off where the rally started, well above that, and absolutely is on a lot of radar, a lot of traders' radar. So I don't love the chart right now. It's just kind of weird to me, but I want to have it on watch all week. All right. FTEK had this really nice move from about $1.10 to over $1.80, and then sold off on an intraday basis. And now you've got 2 red days on declining volume into what we call the buy zone between the 8 and the 20-day moving average. So if it's going to bounce, it should bounce on Monday. So we're going to keep a close eye on that one. I would note that it only traded 139,000 shares on Friday. So it's not like there's a ton of people involved in this one, but I do like the chart setup. GSVC. This is, I mean, it's a strong stock, and it's pulling back into that buy zone I just talked about, right? It's like 4 or 5 days lower. This isn't as much a chart play as it is Dropbox IPO and what's the other one? Spotify IPO, both coming up, and I believe GSVC has a stake in both of those. So I'm kind of looking for a run into those. And now you've got a nice 3 or 4 day pullback. So let's keep an eye on that one for some volume to come in. Couple more. KTOS is just decimated here over 4 sessions. Friday had a huge range candle to the downside after already having a couple days down. So I want to watch that one for a potential bounce. And then JAGX, a sub-dollar one, had this massive spike on, geez, what was the volume that day? 180 million shares. And it hasn't broken a previous day's high since, right? Lower high, so on. It got down to that buy zone. Seems to be finding support. So watching this one for a bounce on Monday. And I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to add some gappers as a team as we study the pre-market action. And between the gap list and this list, there's plenty to watch. All right, have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see everybody on Monday.